Grandma's Kitchen.
There's a fiddle tune and a wooden spoon while she's stirring and a-singing. There's friends leaving or family landing, and the phone's usually ringing. No matter who you are or what you've done, everything's forgiven.
Thank God.
In Grandma's kitchen. And ain't it good to be in Grandma's kitchen?
Grandma's Kitchen.
Hi everybody. I just couldn't seem to get out of my own way today. It's Mary Janet here from Tunes and Wooden Spoons, and so thankful that you're all there. The kids are texting already. But anyway, here's hoping that you had a good week. We're slowly getting there, aren't we? And it's a wonderful thing because we will get there if we follow the rules. Today, I have a couple of things. There's some birthdays that I want to tell you about. First of all, well, yesterday was my brother Bernie's birthday, so happy belated to my brother Bernie. And today is Joan Tomlinson's birthday from Minesville. And Joan, she and I share our granddaughters, Anna and Mary Sarah. She is Brennan's mother-in-law. So today's her birthday. Happy birthday. And oh yes, I have to talk louder today because I don't have the same setup as I had last week because my son is gone back to Alberta to work. So he was very technical, but for now, this is what you have. You just have me and my old way of doing things. But as for birthdays, yes, today is Joan Tomlinson's birthday, and it's also Violet's birthday. She'd be my grandniece from Mabu. Happy birthday. And tomorrow is a very special day because it's my granddaughter Mary Sarah's birthday. She's going to be 12 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Mary Sarah. And coming up on Friday, it's my grandson Aiden's birthday, and he's going to be 12. Yes, they were born only days apart. And so happy birthday to Aiden on Friday. We'll see you then. And I think that that's all the notifications I wanted to check in with for now. And I know my nephew Aaron, it's his birthday this week, and it might be tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure. So happy birthday, Aaron, if you're watching. So today, everybody, I am going to be doing some recipes that were passed down to me by my grand aunt, Maggie Ann, who was my mother. She raised me after my mother died, and I've told you before, but I wanted to tell you again. These are little things that she passed down to me. I called her Mama because I was there on and off from the time I was 1 year old to when I was 3-year-old, and that's when my mom did pass away, so I remained there for the rest of my childhood and teenage years. But Mama was born in 1902, and probably in the 20s, she moved to Boston to take a job with wealthy clients, and she learned how to be the dessert lady. So there were many desserts that she would make that she took back from that position when she came home and got married in 1932. And she lived a long life. She lived to be 93, and she died in 1995. So today I'm making her sauces and pudding recipes that she passed on. The first one is a caramel sauce, and the second one is a chocolate sauce. And both are good for ice cream. And as well, the chocolate sauce, what she would do for me, she'd put a few spoonfuls in a big glass of milk. And it was the same as chocolate milk to me, because Quick was kind of expensive. If anybody out there remembers the powdered can of Quick, they probably still make it. I really don't know. But I used to love when Mama would make the chocolate sauce, because it was good on ice cream and it was good in chocolate milk. And as well, her versatile pudding. One recipe will do 4 variations of puddings. Today, I'm besides the caramel sauce and the chocolate sauce, we're going to be making coconut cream pudding from this basic recipe, and a chocolate pudding. We're going to be making those too, but I'm going to tell you about the other variations that are in there. So I don't know anybody out there who's watching who's going to be baking right along with me. I know there are some. So what I've decided to do, just for camera reasons and my own ease, I'm going to put all the dry ingredients in all the pots for the various pots. So whatever you're making, just watch along as I get to those dry ingredients. So I have 2 larger pots that I'm going to be using. They're probably 2-quart pots, and I'm going to be using them for the sauces. So I'm going to get the dry ingredients ready in both of those, and then I'll bring all of the pots over to the stove and we'll be there together before we have our tea. Okay, so the first sauce is the caramel sauce, and you're going to put 2 cups of packed brown sugar. Okay, so I'm going to do that right along with you, and it's a delicious caramel sauce. And so when it says packed brown sugar, it's just not loosely put in. So I just kind of rub it up against the side of the dish. And that's packed to me. So this is a 1/2 cup measure, so I'm going to put 4 of them in here. That's 3. And 4. Okay. And into that, just a minute, I forgot my spoon, my spatula. I'm just going to squash that around. And into this, I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, now you just mix it up into the brown sugar. This particular sauce, I usually serve it, I make an ice cream cake. Oh, I've been making it for years and years and years. And it was our son Mitchell's favorite birthday cake. I always made him ice cream cake. And with 7 children, sometimes you just didn't buy the ice cream cakes that were available at Dairy Queen or whatever. So found this recipe and I've been making it ever since. So what it is you make it the day before you're going to serve it. And all you need is 2 liters of ice cream and some Oreo cookie crumbs and some Score bar, like they're a crisp toffee bar for anybody who's not from here in Canada. I don't know if they have them in the US or whatever, but it's like a toffee, a crisp toffee bar coated in milk chocolate. and you have several of them. And I'm going to be making that ice cream cake not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that. And you'll already know how to make the sauce. So you make the cake, the ice cream cake, and when you serve it, the sauce has to be just warm, and you pour that over it. It's really good. Everything is full of calories, of course. Okay, so set that aside, and that's the start of the caramel sauce. Okay, the chocolate sauce. We're going to start with 2 cups of white sugar. Now, this is half of the recipe that Mama gave me. Her recipe was double what I'm making. You can only imagine how much it made. So I've halved it for you guys. And I mean, I don't normally, you know, make the full recipe anyway. I always cut it in half. So 2 cups of white sugar. So this is my half cup measure. 2, 3, 4. How's everybody doing? All right. And 3.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Similar kind of ingredients, isn't it? Sorry for all the noise. Hope everybody can hear me okay. We'll have this fixed. It's only taken me this long to get it sideways. So, and 1/2 cup of cocoa, okay? I use Fry's cocoa, and it's a dark cocoa. I believe it's there are differences in the types of cocoa that you get, but I think this might be the Dutch method or kind. Anybody out there who knows that? Let me know. Okay. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt, just a little bit of salt. Okay, mix that up really well. The one thing I didn't do today when I started the show, because I was rushing, I did wash my hands. I hope all the people out there did this very same thing, that I did wash my hands. I just received the sweetest video this week. It still makes me just giggle when I think of it. And it was from a mom out in British Columbia. And her little girl, Emily, is 6. And Emily has a little play kitchen. And she has all the little pieces of equipment that's necessary. There's a sink, there's a fridge, there's ingredients, there's butter and all of that. Well, Emily made a video. She watches, I guess, every week. She made a video as if she was me. And she was washing her hands at the beginning, and she was announcing everything she was doing. And then she even had tea at the end with her little cup and saucer and her finished product, her cookies. She made cookies. I thought that was so precious. I loved it. Okay, that's nicely combined. So you've got the dry ingredients for your caramel sauce and dry ingredients for your chocolate sauce. So all the wet ingredients are over by the stove. So now we're going to have the ingredients for the basic vanilla pudding. You just hold on a second. Okay. And here you're going to need 1 cup of white sugar. If you're making the coconut cream pie filling or pudding, You're going to put 1 cup of white sugar. I hope my head is not cut off in the video. Oh my dear. A big learning curve for me. Okay. I'll have to put some more sugar in this. And 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Similar ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I better get another spatula. Mix that up really well with the sugar. Now, if I just wanted a vanilla pudding, this is all the dry ingredients that I would need, and I would just add my milk and vanilla and butter, and that would be vanilla pudding, okay? But, so I really don't have to demonstrate that, but I am going to make one of the puddings, and I'm going to make the coconut pie filling. So I'm going to add 1/2 cup of coconut. The kind that I ended up picking up was medium sweetened coconut. Now, I'll mix that up, and that's all we'll need until we get to the milk portion. But, so this versatile recipe is a vanilla pudding, as I pointed out to you. Okay, and now I'm adding the 1/2 cup of coconut to it. So that makes it coconut-based pudding. If you wanted to make banana cream pie, you would, instead of adding the coconut, I would mash up with a fork 1 whole banana and mix that in with it. And then I would coin a whole banana, like cut it in coins, and put that in. But the pudding portion of it, the vanilla pudding base, before you add the bananas to it, it has to be stone cold. So you would put it in the fridge after you cooked the vanilla pudding, and then you would add, you have to have it cold, cold, cold. So anyway, okay, there is everything ready to make the sample coconut pudding. Now the rest is the chocolate pudding, which is the one that I have made the absolute most at our house when the kids were growing up. So just a minute, of course I have to get more sugar. I wasn't thinking. You're gonna look in my messy cupboard. Okay. So it's 1 cup of white sugar. This is for the chocolate pudding. Okay. And of course, 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Again. I remember when the kids were little and downstairs, or not downstairs, they'd be down in the living room and just mix that up. And they'd be down in the living room watching television or whatever. And I'd try to quietly sneak, and this would be after supper, before bed, and I would sneak around and I would make them warm chocolate pudding. We always ate it warm. And if we were lucky and had ice cream in, we'd put a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream with it, and it just kind of melted and smothered it. Oh, they loved that. And you know what? Still make it. And I used to make it into a pie as well, just a cream pie as well. You can do that. Okay, now 5 tablespoons of cocoa is added to that to make it chocolate pudding. There now. That's all our dry ingredients. Are you wondering who's singing? I don't know if you can hear her very well. It's Lisa Cameron. Lisa Cameron is married to my nephew Vernon McDougall. And Lisa has a couple of albums out, and they're just a favorite of mine, of course. I've already played her music one other day, but anyway, I would mix it, especially if, depending on the kind of cocoa you have, sometimes you'll find like little lumps in the cocoa, and you just squash them down, because it's really hard to squash them once you add the milk. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I hope you can see all of this, but you'll see better when we get to the stove, okay? So I'm going to take the pots over to the stove. All right. Hi, everybody. I'll straighten you out in a minute. Well, thank you for being so patient with me. Okay. Now, here we go. Goodness gracious, people. I'm so sorry. If you could only see this setup that I have here, you'd be laughing at me. Now, can you see my stove? There now. Okay, yes, you can. Oh dear, there's a big light behind me now. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Maybe I'll move you. We actually have a sunny day. No, that's not going to work. Oh, please get me a technician, people. I'll try to block it out as much as I can. How's that? Is that better? We're starting with the caramel sauce, okay? And you all know what's in there, but just in case somebody joined late, I'll review the recipes as I'm going along. So the caramel sauce, just for all of you, has 2 cups of packed brown sugar in it and 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And that's all that's in this pan now, and it's just mixed up really well, and all the lumps are squashed down with your spoon. Okay. Now to the caramel sauce, you're going to add 1 1/3 cups of blend cream. This is my blend cream, and you could use coffee cream too. It's just I think 18% fat, maybe, coffee cream. Blend cream is only 10%. Someone said that maybe if they used a coffee cream or a whipping cream, whichever one is the higher fat content, you might get a thicker sauce. Go for it. This is the kind I use, and it's 10% fat. Okay, so 1 1/3 cup. That darn door. Okay. Just bear with me for a minute. I'm just going to go and get a towel or something to put over the window of the door. Okay, gonna close the curtains now, people. How's that? Sorry. Okay, so now I'm going to put 1 1/3 cups of blend cream in here. Okay. Mix that up. Don't turn the stove on just yet. Or actually, those with electric stoves, you can probably put it on medium heat. The propane is immediate right away, and with an electric stove, it takes a little bit longer to warm up. So just put it on medium for now. And now to this, you're going to add 1 cup of water, just cold water. I've tried many other different kinds of recipes for caramel sauce. I always come back to this one. There was something I was missing one time, and what was it I was missing? I didn't have any corn syrup, is what it was. And I found a recipe online, which was pretty darn good, I must say, but it didn't have the corn syrup in it. We're going to be adding corn syrup very shortly. And you know what? I'm going to turn my kettle on to boil. Anybody who has a kettle that they need to put it on to boil. You're not going to need it for this recipe. You're going to need boiling water for the chocolate sauce. So we'll be at that very shortly. So Now, to the caramel sauce, I have my corn syrup here. I use this one. It's Crown Lily White corn syrup. The one that's kind of brown, the light brown, that's perfectly fine too. Whatever you have. And you're going to need, how much is that? A half a cup of blend cream, of corn syrup. This is a 1/4 cup measure. I'm a little pampered chef. 1/4 cup. I love it. I'm getting the others. I have to order the others. So go ahead. And thanks to everybody that, now that my daughter started selling Pampered Chef again, so excited. She used to sell it like 15 years ago when I got my initial favorite things. And she's selling it again, and the link is on the website, Tunes and Wooden Spoons, and you can get all those favorite things. A great company. My God. And like 15 years, and I'm still using many of their things. All right. So, that's all that you add to the caramel sauce. Just to quickly review, 2 cups packed brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, mix that all up. Add 1 1/3 cups of blend cream, or coffee cream, whatever, and a cup of water, and a 1/2 cup of corn syrup. Okay? You're going to be adding some butter and vanilla at the end. But right now, we're going to turn on the stove. And you bring it just to the boil. And once it just comes to a boil, you keep it on that low rolling boil, whether you have to turn down your stove or whatever. And you're going to do it for 4 minutes. Oh, the damn kettle. These are the kind of messages my kids send me. Mom, your kettle is about 100 decibels. Sorry, people, it's right beside the phone, and that's why it's so loud. I'll have to move it over to the other end of the kitchen. You'll probably still hear it in the background. All right. Okay. Now, when you're mixing this, you'll see it almost kind of curdling around the edges. Don't worry about that. That will all go away. And this sauce is best served just warm. Okay. That's better. Okay, I'll just turn this light on. All right. We'll get through this, everyone. I'm just like you. There's so many good cooks out there. There's people that are sharing recipes with me. And then some people are asking me for advice, and I'm thinking, Lord Almighty. I just make what I make with what I use and what I've practiced with and like the outcome. So I'll help if I can, or I'll find the answer for you. There, Brennan. The kettle is stopping. So we're all good. Mine's not near come to a boil yet, so we'll just be patient. Smells good though. This sauce, it also goes great with not just the ice cream cake and just on ice cream itself, but it goes on oh, what's it called? German apple cake. If you're familiar with German apple cake, I have a recipe. I'm sure you've all heard of the Rankin family, and we have a recipe book that our daughters did as a fundraiser and got all these celebrities in Inverness County to submit recipes. And the Rankin family submitted this German apple cake. And so the German apple cake, it's got Granny Smith apples in it and raisins. And there's so many people that don't like raisins. Well, you can make it without the raisins if you wanted. And then when the cake is done, you have prepared like a cream cheese frosting. Only the difference is this cream cheese frosting, you put on the hot cake when it comes out of the oven, and then you put it back in the oven to just get a little brown. And it probably takes about 15 minutes or something like that. And oh, it's so good. And you usually make it in a tube pan, but and then when you serve it on the plate, you just put a little drizzle of this caramel sauce on it. It's delicious. The recipe probably came to the Rankin family from their aunt, Mary Lorette Beaton in Marble, who is, caters to weddings and just a lovely cook. And she would be their aunt, and so this recipe is delicious. The other thing that I would use this sauce for is bread pudding. If there's anybody out there who's familiar with bread pudding, that is a delicious recipe too. We'll do that one day, and we'll do the German apple cake down the road. I mean, if I keep on doing this every Sunday and whatever, we'll just play it by ear, see. And I'm just kind of going to stick to the baking, because that's what I love to do. And maybe down the road we'll get into other recipes if we stay with this. Okay, mine is coming to a boil now, and it's thickening up. Really, really, really keep. I'm going to turn mine down now, and I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes. It's thickening up really nicely. I'm just going to take you over here to see in the pot and pray that the phone doesn't fall in the pot. That would be awful. That's what it's looking like. And Margie's just there. How long can you store it? And I think we need to turn this way down. This I would keep in the fridge. You can keep it up to 2 weeks. And what I do is I take it out. Whoops. That's my pepper. That wouldn't have been good. I would put it in a little dish like this. Another Pampered Chef dish. I'd put a little bit in this, and I'd warm it in the microwave or in your toaster oven until it's just warm. And otherwise, I keep it in a mason jar in the fridge. Oh, you can really smell it now. And the same for the chocolate sauce that I'm going to be making next. Just put it in a mason jar. I mean, don't cover it right away. You all know that. Just put it in a nice big jar. Leave the cover off. Leave it on the counter. I'd probably put like a saucer or something over the top, because just in case it forms a little skim. I'm not sure if it does or not. Or a little piece of wax paper or even plastic. And just let it sit and come completely to room temperature, and then put your cover on it and store it in the fridge for a couple of weeks, if it lasts that long. And really, what you'll find is if you take it out of the fridge, I've done this. Listen to this. You know, sometimes you're going around thinking, oh, if I could just have one little thing sweet and just satisfy that little crave. I'll take a spoon and I'll open the jar and I'll take a little spoon out, close it, and I'll have it cold. And it's good, and it just makes me not want to look for something with more calories in it. God knows I don't need any more calories. But I do that. And what you'll find is that as it's cold, whether it's the butter or whatever, but you'll feel a little grainy thing in it, but it's, you know, it's still delicious. Is there anybody else out there that does those kinds of things? I don't know. So during the last minute, I'm going to add the vanilla and I'm going to add the butter. So 3 tablespoons of butter. And I'm really just going to guess at the amount of tablespoons, okay? That's about a tablespoon. So I'm going to put 3 of them in there. Three tablespoons. Whoops. Buttery fingers. And how much vanilla? 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I just used the cover. And this, of course, is my new favorite Watkins product, vanilla, pure vanilla extract. Okay, time is up. I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to mix that up. Oh my God, that smells so good. Doesn't that look good? Just delicious, people. And I'm just going to set that aside, and maybe I'll put some over ice cream later when it's actually just warm, okay? Put that away. Now we're going to make the sauce, the chocolate sauce, and turn that kettle on for a few seconds. It's enough with the way it's boiling now. But in here, for anybody who would have missed the beginning, there's 2 cups of white sugar and 3.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Mix that really well and add 1/2 cup of cocoa and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, the recipe should be up on Facebook now and pinned to the top of the posts, and it should also be on the website tunesandwoodenspoons.com under recipes. If the kids did their work, I sent them the recipes and they're supposed to post it 10 minutes before we start. The reason I do that, I don't like to, give out the recipes right away. I give out the ingredients, and if there's a major amount of something, I will say, well, 2 cups of brown sugar, make sure you have that in. But if you have cornstarch and you have sugar, whatever, you have that in. Because a couple of times when I did post the recipe, people were making it before the big weekend when I was going to make it with you, and I just rather make it with you. And then if you want to watch it on the replay, you can watch it on the replay. But I don't like to give the recipe out ahead of time, because then people start posting pictures and then everybody's looking for the recipe ahead of time. And what am I going to do on Sunday when I have to make something with you? We already know how to make it. Okay, I'm getting the boiling water. And how much boiling water? 3 cups of boiling water, okay? That's 2. And 3. Okay. Turn your stove on, medium, high. Really stir it well. This one will come to a boil fairly quickly because you're using the boiling water. You don't have to wait as long. Now, if you want maybe a thicker sauce, I'm just rubbing this up against the side because of all the lumps that happen. You have to do that. Squash all those lumps of cocoa and whatever, sugar and cornstarch. Get that all nicely mixed. Some of you may want to use a whisk, but you know, you may want to use some some scalded milk and do half boiling water and half scalded milk. It's up to you. Do you know what, people? I just made a mistake. I just made a mistake. I added the boiling water to the pot that has the chocolate pudding. So, we're just going to call it chocolate pudding, but we've made it with water. But not you. So, for the chocolate pudding, switching to the chocolate pudding. Oh my God. No, I'm not going to do that to you. Okay, stop. So, I'll make the chocolate sauce in a minute. It was already here on the stove waiting for the boiling water. So now I have to boil the kettle. So what we'll make instead is the coconut pudding. Thank heavens I have that ready. So the coconut pudding, it's your basic vanilla pudding. All this recipe's online. It's got 1 cup of white sugar and 5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and a half a cup of coconut. And I used sweetened coconut, the really short kind. I'm not fussy about the stringy kind. And so that's all in here. And then you're going to add 2 cups of milk. All right? I was wondering, how come this is getting so thick? Oh, that's what you do when you're trying to be smart. Okay, turn your stove on medium. And you're going to really, this is the basic vanilla pudding, and with the half a cup coconut in here. You really, really have to keep stirring it all the time. It tends to scorch in the corners, at least on my propane stove. I really have to watch it. Maybe I've discovered a new recipe with the water and the pudding mixture. Anyway, what is everybody doing these days? Are you getting ready? Your gardens ready? Or your flower beds ready? We're looking forward to doing the garden, and it's been nice one day and cold the next, and it's just too risky to start our garden, and we're not one to start ones inside. So we've just decided today we're going to wait until June the 1st, and that's when we'll start our garden. And we have a great big backyard. We're sitting about 2 acres of land, so we have a big backyard, and we usually plant potatoes and tomatoes and cucumbers and string beans, both green and yellow, and some peppers. Usually we do some peppers, just kind of, and then we do some pumpkins so that they're ready for the fall. We do beets, and we pickle beets. I say we, it's mostly my husband is doing the pickling. He does his mother's mustard chow recipe with the cucumbers, with 12 cucumbers. And with the beets, he just, you boil the beets and then you make a sauce of sugar and vinegar and a little bit of salt, and that was his mother's recipe. And he loves to give it away to people. He makes that. So he plants lots of beets and lots of cucumbers. And as for me, I love flowers, but I don't have a really great green thumb. But I have a neighbor that Virginia, who is amazing with flowers, and she comes and helps every year and helps dig and weed and do all of that stuff, because I'm getting up there, and the knees aren't so good anymore. So this is taking a little bit of time. It takes a little while to come from cold to warm, but once it starts, boiling, it doesn't take any time for it to thicken up. And we'll be adding butter and vanilla to this. And if it didn't have the coconut in it, it would be vanilla, basic vanilla pudding, right? Wherever you are, I wonder if you have, are you in a place where they've opened up the bubble and all of that? They know here in Nova Scotia they have, which is wonderful for families to pair with another family member or friend. And I think of many lonely seniors who are dying to see their families. Thank heavens. It's a different time. My son had to go back to work in Alberta, so he left driving the other day, and he had to fill out forms and stuff like that at the border in New Brunswick, Quebec, I guess. But no problems. They knew he was going to work, and he had all his paperwork in order, and it was no problem at all. And he's glad to be going back to work. Okay, this is starting to thicken up. Nicely. Okay, it's almost ready. As soon as you see the bubbles forming, beautiful. Okay, turn the heat off, and I'll try to handle the butter a little bit better. And it is just making sure I know 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So a tablespoon of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, I can smell the coconut and vanilla. It looks delicious. Just gonna, I don't know if you can see that. I'll pour it into a bowl so that you'll be able to see it. Perfect. Okay. There's the consistency of it. Can you see that? It smells so good. And this batch is enough for to make a 9-inch coconut cream pie, right? And oh, don't you love the smell of coconut? So there, that's that. And now our chocolate sauce. I got the right pot this time. And the chocolate sauce, it's 3 cups of boiling water. Yes, 3 cups of boiling water. There, 3 cups of boiling water. Turn your heat on medium. Okay, and again, just like the chocolate pudding I was doing before, squash the lumps to the side. A story about Mama. You know, when you make somebody's recipe who has given you a recipe, you know, like for her, I just, it makes me smile. And okay, all the lumps are nicely squashed there. But I mean, you know, she came from the country, you know, back in the 1920s when you had no external influence exactly. We country folk, and you know, just meat and potatoes and pie probably. She had to learn all of that when she went, and I guess she used to be lonesome, but she said she found some wonderful other workers that were there who from Ireland, a lot of Irish girls at that time that were working in Boston too. They came over from Ireland who would be lonesome as well, and they used to stay up in the attic level off the house is where they slept. But I remember her telling me about, you know, everything was very fancy, and one of the things that was at the place setting with this was this little dish with just water in it, smaller dish with a little water. And when they were, after they were taking the dishes away, this little thing of water was there, and Mama, I guess, she took the dish and she thought, oh, this wasn't drank, and so she took a big swig of it, and the other girl nearly died and said, you can't drink that. They use that for washing their fingers after every course of the dinner. I swear, it was, I guess it's probably called a finger bowl of some sort, but God bless her. She learned a lot. There was another recipe that she used to make. Okay, if you're just a bit quiet for a minute here, this is starting to, I can feel it starting to the consistency is now starting to thicken up a little bit. And yeah, you have to, once it gets to a boil, you're going to put it on for 4 minutes as well. So it's coming to a boil, so I'm going to set it for 4 minutes. Oh yeah, it's nice and shiny and chocolatey. Can you imagine? This is only half of the recipe. But Mama loved to make these kinds of things as kind of special treats and whatever for me. And I get lots of messages from all of you who, I'm turning my heat down now because this is coming a pretty good boil. People who never got to get recipes from their grandmother or from their mother even, and they wish that they had it, and you know, do you have a recipe for this because she used to make this or that or whatever. And that's one of my laments for what I did. I loved a dessert that Mama made, and it was very special. Maybe I'd get it twice a year, and it was called Bavarian cream pie. That's what it was called. And it was kind of a vanilla, gelatin-based, oh, this is coming so nice. I'm going to turn it way down again so that it's just at a simmer. Yeah, it was a gelatin-based vanilla pudding that she would put in a nice decorative small bowl that was kind of had little spines in it, so it would make a design on it. And when it was done, she would put it upside down on a nice plate. And then she would drizzle it with this chocolate sauce, just tiny little, I didn't even know they did that then, but they did do that then. Just, she would drizzle it across, and it was delicious. It took a long time to make because the gelatin had to set. If there's anybody out there that has a recipe, and I could probably Google it, but nothing is as nice as getting it passed down, and unfortunately, I never asked her for that recipe. But I was with her when she'd be making this sort of thing. When about a minute is left in your timer for the chocolate sauce, you're going to add a 1/4 cup of butter. Okay, so I'm going to start getting that ready. I have a little 1/4 cup measure here. That's a lot of butter, but it makes it better. Okay, and you're going to be adding how much? Just 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You have ready? Smells nice and chocolatey. Okay, there's 1 minute left, and I'm going to add the 1/4 cup of butter. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Oops, a little extra vanilla. Can't beat. Turn the heat off. Just get that all mixed up. This can be warm or cold. It's just fine, either way. Oh, delicious looking. Okay. I'm going to bring you over again. I just want you to see that because there's so much. Can you see that? Okay. The consistency, it's not as thick as the caramel sauce. You know, but it will thicken a little bit up, but you really don't need it thickened. It's a beautiful sauce, and that makes a lot. Okay, so there we have our caramel sauce, our chocolate sauce, our coconut cream pie, and the most important one is the chocolate pudding. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to put new ingredients in. I guess I better not do that. Hold on. I'll just be a minute. I'm gonna just do the 1 cup of sugar, 5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 5 tablespoons of cocoa. Okay? Won't take me a second. All right, people. It's all in there. I'm gonna mix it all up. Sorry, Brendan, I have to put the kettle on to boil again. I have to make tea. So I'm just squashing out any of the lumps. So just to repeat, 1 cup of white sugar, 5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 5 tablespoons of cocoa. And get all the lumps out. And you're going to add 2 cups of milk. A lot of the time I'll just use skim milk. Try to save somewhere. And turn it on, your heat on medium high. And to this, at the end, you will add a tablespoon of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay? I was lucky I had another pot. Now I'm mixing this up, but you'll have to squash any lumps that you'll find with your spatula. Maybe the whisk would work too, I don't know. I'm telling you, I just, like I said before, bringing this to the kids as a surprise. Sometimes they'd guess and they could smell it. But these were some of their favorite things, was the chocolate pudding and the chocolate chip jumbles and the cinnamon rolls. They were the staples. Cecil is outside doing some yard work, trying to stay out of my way. Just when you stir it around like that, you'll see any lumps like that. Because you want to, there's nothing worse than getting a little lump of cocoa. Like I still see it. They usually will raise right to the surface and you can push them off to the side and you can squash them up. that's pretty good. Every now and again I'll see one. And just squash it up. Okay, that hasn't come to a full boil yet. So I'm going to take a moment and set my tea. I'll have a quick cup of tea with you today again. I put 2 bags of King Cold tea in my teapot. And this is actually, that teapot, it was a Pyrex teapot. And it was actually, I don't know, I think it's maybe an 8 cup or a 10 cup. And because I have a propane stove, this back burner is the lowest flame, and I put it all the way to the back, and I put it off to the side, and I let it steep there for about 5 minutes. And God forbid if that tea boils. And you know what? Papa always had the teapot on the old wood stove. There was tea on all the time. It was loose tea, and I think I told you all this before. But put a couple of teaspoons of tea, and the teapot was always on the stove at the back of the still warming, and it was strong tea. But now I know how I like it. Just a nice dark brown there. Okay, no more lumps. It's nice, coming along really nice. So this is what I am going to have with you. I am going to have some chocolate pudding with a little scoop of ice cream. And I didn't get to the co-op to get my vanilla ice cream, but I do have, I think it might be Hoof Prince. Well, it's ice cream. If you have any chocolate lovers, no matter what the age, this is really nice. And it'll be a little too hot for me to really take a nice spoonful of it and to have with you, but you'll get the idea. We're not going to have a lot of time to be chatting today. I've already kept you way too long. Anyway, what else do we have to do on a Sunday afternoon? We have to cook. All of the cleaning is done. Thank you all for everybody that ordered an apron. So busy on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. We were getting them all packaged and ready to go, and they're all mailed out except for a few orders that came in on the weekend. Well, they'll go out tomorrow. Okay, this is coming nicely, thickening up. Just keep stirring really well. Okay, turn your heat off. If it's like this, can you see that? It looks really good. Okay, to this we're going to add our butter. So we're going to add a tablespoon of butter, around that much. Or if you want to measure, feel free. I do a lot of just guessing. And of vanilla. Oh, smells good. And normally what I would do is I would put a plate that covers, or the cover for the pot. I just use a plate. Because if you don't cover it while it's cooling down to warm, it gets a hard skin on it, which is good to eat too. But, and I would leave it for maybe, if you can stand, 15 minutes, and then it's just about right. But for today, and for right now, I am going to have some ice cream. I got a real mess on the go here. Oh, I'll just put it in this bowl here. So just 1 scoop of ice cream, and I'm going to put some pudding in here. Delicious. If you love chocolate, you're going to love this. I'm going to pour my tea. I'm going to put this back in the freezer. Oh, I need milk in my cup. So the way I like my tea, today I'm going to have, usually I like my tea and my sauce or whatever, but I have this lovely little Cape Breton mug, and it's a china mug with the Scottish thistle on it, because we here in Cape Breton, there are many of us in Cape Breton who are Gaels, and we are descendant from those people in Scotland. So we put a little milk in the bottom of the cup, and we like our milk in first. And people say, do you like your tea miff or tiff? Miff meaning milk in first, tiff meaning tea in first, and then you pour your milk on top, but you need a spoon for that. I don't want to use a spoon. I want my milk in first, and then I'll pour my tea in, and it's perfect. Tea is ready. See? Nice and dark. Fill my tea. Whoops. Turn the burner off. And it's the perfect color. Can you see? Oh, I'm gonna spill it. Oh, Mary Janet. There. And there's lots of foam in the cup. And we say, look, there's lots of money in your cup. Drink all those little bubbles before they disappear, and you'll have some money. So I got my money. Taking this over to the table, and I'll come back and get you. Okay, people. kept you long enough. Just a minute, see if I can do this one last time. Okay. How's that? This is supposed to give me more light. I had to take the lampshade off. Anyway, I guess I don't need it. Oh my goodness. My ice cream is melting. That makes it even better. So I forgot to pick up my reminders from my printer. So I caught all the birthdays. Mary Sarah tomorrow, my namesake Mary Sarah. Happy birthday. And oh yes, I wanted to mention about a magazine that they were tweeting back and forth with my son, Brandon, who's kind of looking after the Twitter feed. It's called Manor Magazine, and grandmanor.com. I had a look at their magazine. It's beautiful. Their website, I mean. Their website is absolutely beautiful. It's got fashion, it's got everything, but it does have a baking portion. The pictures, the photography is amazing. If you get a chance, go visit that website, grandmanor.com. That's grandmanner.com. So I'm just going to have a little spoon of this warm pudding with the ice cream. I lost you for a second. I'm going to take a little taste of this, okay? It is delicious, and a little sip of tea. Anyway, I really hope you had a wonderful week, everyone. I thank you for coming back time and time again. I did want to share with you something dear to my heart. This week, I lost a beautiful friend of mine who has been battling cancer for the last 3 years. And she knew that her time was getting short. And I had a really good conversation with her just now 2 weeks ago. And she died at home. She had a beautiful husband and 5 children. And she so wanted to see 3 new grandchildren born in these months, and she got to see 2 of them born the week before she died, and there's another one due in July. Her name was Ethel, and we have been friends since she was around 13, and she was my maid of honor when I got married, and we have been very close friends all through the years, and I will miss her. I will miss her dearly. And the recipe book I found just yesterday. I was going through a recipe book she gave to me, and it's from that book that I'm making next week's white bread. I'll post the ingredients hopefully Tuesday or at the latest Wednesday morning. But inside was a little note from her, love Ethel, and I will cherish that, as I will her memory. And it's so hard to have closure at this time in our world. But she was just an amazing woman and had the prepping that it's needed, and we are better for having known her. So see you, Ethel, and I will always treasure our years together. So, people, I've kept you long enough, and I appreciate you coming back week after week, and my silly old me and my technology skills, and I'm working on a new way of presenting this, which I hope will be in place by next week. So we'll give a go to that. But for the white bread and maybe some rolls out of that bread dough recipe, it's flour and yeast, and I don't know how you're going to get that, but that's what we will be making, and I'll post, the amounts of I think it's 8 cups of flour, pretty sure, and a couple of packages of yeast. But anyway, take care, everybody. Keep well. Treasure your friends. Use the phone. Have your yard visits and be well and just love one another. I love you for being with me every Sunday. Thank you and bye-bye. Hi everybody, Mary Janet here. Thanks so much for watching. I would love if you would hit subscribe, please. And if you'd like to order an apron, you can go to tunesandwoodenspoons.com. The link is down there in the description. So thanks so much and happy baking.